It was September of 2001. Blizzard announced this new MMO at the European Computer Trade Show, World of Warcraft, which was said to be taking over the world by storm and was described as an RPG that aimed at orchestrating chaos on a massive scale. Needless to say, it looked a bit different from its 2004 iteration of its final release. I know the video quality looks absolutely horrible, but that's 2001 for you. Anyways, how different was 2001 WoW to 2004 WoW? Significantly. And in this video, I'll be sharing a bunch of zones that were cut or changed through World of Warcraft's development until vanilla was released in November of 2004. So let's go. There was planned to be another battleground in vanilla called Ashar Crater. The location of this would have been around Forlorn Ridge in southern Ashara, and it was intended to be another Alterac Valley style BG. The entrances of each faction were still in vanilla, however, with the southern side of Forlorn Ridge being where the Alliance started and the northern side is where the Horde started. These entrances were removed with Cataclysm, and at BlizzCon 2007, Ashar Crater was mentioned during a Q&A session, but the developers felt balancing both Ashar Crater and Alterac Valley would have been too much.
You guys talked about the Gurabashi arena, but there's also an arena set up in Ashar. What was that arena going to be?
Right, that was the one we call Ashar Crater, and that was a battleground that was created pretty much at the same time that we were creating Alterac Valley. It was before we really kind of learned the lessons from Alterac Valley. And I've never really felt comfortable going forward with Ashar Crater until we finally feel like, you know what, Alterac Valley really works the way we'd like it to work. Alterac Valley has gone through iteration after iteration of being changed in one way or another. It's never really settled into something that we've been completely happy with. And I don't want to make another Alterac Valley until we're pretty happy with Alterac Valley.
It was later revealed that Blizz planned on structuring 3 new battlegrounds for the Mists of Pandaria expansion, with Ashar Crater being one of them. However, 2 of the 3 battlegrounds were picked, and Ashar Crater was left behind once again. This is when the Temple of Kamogu and Silvershard Mines battlegrounds came out. Keeping on topic with Ashara, there was originally going to be an underwater instance located there called Bay of Storms. During WoW Alpha, depictions of the Dark Portal were used in place of instance portals, which is where this picture comes from. Not much is known about this instance, just that it was scrapped before the final release. Talking about cut content from vanilla WoW, we have to mention the Caverns of Time. I made a video some time ago about getting into the Caverns of Time in classic WoW, considering it didn't open up until Burning Crusade. Although the Caverns of Time that was closed off, but accessible through some parkour in vanilla, didn't have a whole lot going on with it. There was a giant hourglass in the middle, and the instance portals were there, which shows that they had the idea for it prior to 2004. Now, even though the instance portals are there, with no instances behind them, Black Moraz was still in the game files, so this instance was said to possibly be the sole dungeon there in vanilla. One of the most well-known cut content from World of Warcraft would have to be the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream is a realm of life, and essentially mirrors the Shadowlands, being the realm of death. This is where dragon aspects and wild gods would go when they died, to heal up and then return back to the mortal world. I believe the reasoning in lore as to why Ysera didn't go here when she died, and instead to Ardenweald in the Shadowlands, was because after the events of Cataclysm, all of the dragon aspects lost their ancient power, as Alexstrasza put it, to stop Deathwing. That, or that Ysera was corrupted in her final moments on Azeroth. An Emerald Dream themed expansion has been talked about from the community for a while now, but Blizz has mentioned that they don't feel as if there's enough content for it to be its own expansion. Now, that was a while ago, because, you know, Shadowlands is a thing, and pretty much all of that is made up content that wasn't in Warcraft. In the depths of Silverpine Forest, you can stumble upon the Greymain Wall. In vanilla, that is. Today it's obviously broken because Cataclysm is a thing. Now, back before Cata, you were actually able to get behind the Greymain Wall with some skips and a jump, but there were no Worgens behind it or anything. It was just a bunch of untextured land. This doesn't necessarily mean that it was planned to be in vanilla, because I'm sure it wasn't. Gilneas and Worgens are in Warcraft lore after all. They just wanted to put a little hint at it until it was unveiled with Cataclysm. Island of Dr. Lepidus and Gilligam's Isle were both located off the coast of Stranglethorn Vale. The intro cinematic of WoW actually has both islands shown at the beginning. These were both islands with literally nothing on them in the alpha version of the game, except some like Zolamani kind of trollish architecture. It's unknown what these islands would have been used for, but they were removed before the final release of WoW. Now we have to talk about Old Ironforge, right? Along with the caverns of time, these both go hand in hand with areas that were in vanilla but were not accessible through conventional means. Ironforge itself used to be a lot bigger than it was in vanilla, with multiple layers to it. Along with that, there was a door in the king's room that led into a cavern. This door is of course open today, but back then you could slightly see through the door if you angled your camera the right way. To get behind it, there were multiple methods. One involved gnome players getting into a sweet spot above the Ironforge bank and then glitching through it. Also, there was one small spot where you could duel players that was near the door, and a mage could polymorph you into it. But if you got behind the door back before Cataclysm, it was fairly similar to how you see it today, except today there's a lot more like crystals around the room. In Cataclysm, this door was then opened so Magni could see more of the mountain secrets, and then he got like iced with Azurite or whatever it was. Kaladar was a battleground that had to have been in the early stages of Alpha, because the location of Kaladar is where Teldrassil is now. Not much is known about the style of this battleground or what it would have entailed. It did have an Alliance and Horde base, however. Karazhan is a raid that had been there since vanilla. In fact, the legendary Atish would teleport the caster to Karazhan if used, so there must have been some plan to have it in vanilla before its Burning Crusade release. Karazhan in Alpha actually looked very different, so I'm curious as to what kind of raid it would have been. 20 man? 40 man? Who knows? Mount Hyjal is a very significant area in lore. You know, that zone that's squished between Fellwood and Winterspring, which wasn't normally accessible until Cataclysm. Well, the strange thing about it is that it was completely built out, terrain and everything, in vanilla. You could get there through glitching, but it was never used in vanilla. It's still somewhat similar to the Hyjal Summit raid that was introduced in Burning Crusade. I just find it a bit odd why they took the time to build the environment of it, but didn't allow players to go there right off the bat. There are plenty of undiscoverable areas out there in Azeroth, and to be honest, there's still so much more that was cut from vanilla than this. Different zones, even skills and professions, like a profession that was just specialized in fire making, or a skill that Tauren had which allowed them to run super fast in replace of a mount. There's really so much to be explored. If you guys want me to make a part 2 of this video, let me know, and if you enjoyed it at all, then feel free to leave a like on it. You can sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.